My name is Mark Boyer, and this is a follow-up report on what's been a tumultuous few weeks in court in Calgary. I filed on Bud Oracle's channel 2 follow-ups as to what was clearly a very good ruling, okay? And I went to a sentencing which felt more like a lynching. But in reality, the Crown was looking for 5 to 10 years for a felony count of proceeds to crime, and I had that charge stayed. And basically, anything after that is good news. The reality is I beat him on 1 count of possession with cookies and cookies for trafficking, on the grounds that they couldn't prove that cookies have hemp oil or resin, cannabis resin in them. Their own chromatographic readouts defy their ability to prove otherwise, that it's a crime. And he tossed the charges on that. Then he tossed the charges on the fact that the 20 grams of personal pot that I had on me was trafficking, and on the grounds that they were basing the fact that I was a trafficker on my pamphlet. And the judge agreed that with the expert witnesses and everything else, and the fact that I have a genuine medical need, that I had no intentions of trafficking that 20 grams of pot on me. And for that, they gave me an $850 fine, after lamenting that what we need is greater protection for medical access. And the court should reflect this in lenient rulings. And this merciless judge, chose to throw an $850 fine or 11 days in jail, and there's no way I'll pay the $850 fine. So, now, then they took my money, Taking my money constitutes a crime, There's 2 ways they can take money. So says the judge, and he's right. You can take under the proceeds of crime, which is how they seize the money, you need a conviction, and there's a stay on that charge. So the judge openly admitted that you cannot seize the money under a 491 of the Criminal Code. The only other way you can seize money is through 490 of the Criminal Code. And there they allow evidence to be seized, even though it's evidence to be seized. Now the problem there is, and the judge brought this up, cash is never called evidence. So technically, he couldn't seize it under 490. Now he complains. Throughout these proceedings, he kept complaining of the sentencing. He kept complaining that, Mr. Boyer, we're going to have to, the only way we can deal with this by law is to give you the money, and then we'll arrest you immediately under the Proceeds of Crime Act. And I agree with this twisted logic. It is the only way to proceed. By law, they stayed the charge. They need a conviction. The only way they can proceed is by repressing the charge. And I said, okay. Now the judge didn't want that, because he'd heard my case, and my case is bulletproof. It really is. And as I said to the judge, I need protection from you robbing the money, because no judge will ever give the money back. And I refuse to believe that this defense isn't bulletproof enough to face a jury of my peers, and I refuse to believe a jury of my peers does not give me my money back. And by law, you stayed the charge, and I have what's called an entitlement to a judge and jury. It's not just a right, it's an entitlement. And they screwed up the trial, and this has been denied. Now, I did this by not signing off at the end of the trial. The judge came to me after a 2.5-hour session, and said he'd have to do a written ruling, and he would not be able to give this real quickly, and that he allowed me the right to leave the building in order to return later to pick up the written ruling and sign off on the case. And that's what I did this morning. We're now Monday, 4 or 5 days after the event. And I filed this motion to press a mistrial in court, outlining that, but in good conscience, under Section 8 of the Criminal Code, self-defense, there was no way I was going to sign off on this undertaking. Now, until I sign off on that undertaking means I get another trial date. Okay, it also means they could pick me up at any time. They could do whatever they want. They're the criminals in this matter. They had no authority whatsoever to take the money, okay, and seize the money. It's just plain ridiculous. Go to my website at www.In Creation We Trust. It's pretty self-explanatory, and it really is all about the money. Because once I get this check, it may sound stupid, but in order for them to settle this case, they have to give me a check. Now I have a receipt that I've gotten a payment back, and now they'll press charges again and take the money. But I'm left with a receipt that allows me to carry on doing what I'm doing, and it also allows every other person who wants to start a riding association in Canada and be protected by this ruling until it's ruled on, as well, an opportunity to do it as well. So it's an opportunity where the courts are going to have to decide one way or the other, and they're going to have to do that relatively quickly, because worst comes to worst is I'll surrender myself in Alberta to force the issue next week. So tune in next week. I'll have another video. And in the meantime, may you live in interesting times.